Hello, friends. Welcome to another Stamp With Me Tuesday. I hope you're ready to stamp along with me as we learn the inked embossing folder card making technique. I think you're going to love this technique. It's really, really easy and just kind of a fun, something a little bit different to do. So if you are here and watching me live, go ahead, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. I love that you guys come back and watch the replay. Leave me a comment. Let me know that you watched the replay. And if this is your first time here, well, hello. Special welcome to you. I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and welcome to my craft corner. I provide card making tips, tricks, and inspiration for wannabe artists so they can create beautiful handmade creations quickly and easily with rubber stamps and card making techniques. You're going to love this one, let me tell you. Let me go ahead. I'm going to flip around my cameras so we can get started. Just got to grab the right one. It's always a question if I'm going to do the right one. I did. All right. So what we're going to start with tonight is some ink. I'm using Pretty Peacock and an embossing folder. Now, I grabbed the embossing folder. This is one of the Basics 3D embossing folders. This is one of the online exclusives. So if you've gotten the new 2023-2024 annual catalog and you've looked through it and you're like, I don't see a polka dot embossing folder in there, that is because this is an online exclusive. There are certain items that are only available online to you, okay? And you just have to go to the Stampin' Up website and you can look for them there. And we're going to get new online products coming in July. So that's really exciting as well. But this is one of the last releases. This is, like I said, the Basics 3D embossing folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. Now, anytime you have an embossing folder, you can feel it. And one side is going to have like the raised up design. So like this has all these little bumps that are raised up. And then the other side has like the divots, right? So this is the divot side. Tonight, I'm going to use the divot side. You could use either side. You get different looks. And I decided for this one, I want to use the divot side. So I have my Pretty Peacock, if I can speak, my Pretty Peacock ink. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to ink up my embossing folder. Just tapping it on here, getting some ink all over. Crazy, right? It feels weird. Like ink your embossing folder. Oh my goodness. And this does get a little messy. But after you're done, you're just going to want to take your embossing folder and just go run it under the sink. And that's going to let all of that ink run off. Now you want to make sure that you are holding your ink pad, pretty straight because you don't want to get the ink into those divots. And likewise, if you're using the other side, you want to kind of be light because you don't want to push so hard that it pushes into the flat part too. So all right, I have a piece of cardstock. This cardstock is 3 3/4 by 5 inch. I'm actually going to lay it on the other side. I'm going to put it on the other uninked side so I can get it nice and straight. And now here it comes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this and really, really hope that it doesn't shift. I want it to stay nice and just like that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab my cutting plates. And I didn't prepare this. But you need a number 1 plate. This is a 3D embossing folder, so I'm using a number 1 plate. Put that at just a little bit of an angle so it starts. I should have done it right on the platform, so hopefully it doesn't shift. And then I'm going to put my number 4 plate on top of this. And I'm going to run it through my Cut Emboss Machine. So hopefully it turns out. Sometimes I do have to do this over. If it shifts a little bit, the ink doesn't go where you want it. You don't get a really good impression. So hopefully, fingers crossed. All right. Ooh, not too bad. Look at that. All right, so we can see now. We can see all those dots. So they're raised up, and then it's dark in the background. Isn't that cool? Hopefully you can kind of see what that looks like. Ah, I love it. I love it. And I just did tone on tone. So I did Pretty Peacock ink on Pretty Peacock cardstock, right? Now I have some more samples to share with you using the same technique. But before I do that, let's go ahead and finish this off into a card because, well, why not, right? So I'm going to take this. Let's set this aside for just a minute. Let's do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to grab my, where is it? I have my Hey Chuck stamp set. We used this like last week or the week before. I don't remember. But I love it. It's got these cute little roosters on it. So I grabbed my Hey Chuck stamp set, and I have this little rooster who's sticking his butt out. And I'm going to grab my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I'm just going to ink him up. A good ink. And stamp him on my basic white. There he is. Isn't he cute? He's so adorable. All right, I'm going to grab some pretty, some pecan pie to start with. So I'm going to Colors Body Pecan Pie on this one. So I'm starting with the light. I'm just going to lay down a nice layer of the light pecan pie, which always makes me think Billy Crystal in When Harry Met Sally. Every time I say it. Every time. So we're just adding some of that light pecan. I'm just going to kind of push a little bit into his tail, not too far, because his tail is not going to be brown, but I do like the colors to kind of blend together. I'm going to add just a little bit to his little skinny chicken legs. There we go. And then let's do just a little bit of shading. So I'm just going to go over kind of the lines a little bit. Come in here under his wing, around his head. Just adding in a little bit of darkness over here on this wing. The top of his leg. There we go. All right. I'm not even going to blend that again. A lot of times I would go back over with the light, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it go. Then I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab some Daffodil Delight. I'm actually using, for the yellow, I'm going to use some yellow cardstock on this card, and it's actually crushed curry, but I'm just using the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends. I do not have crushed curry Stampin' Blends. I don't even know if there are crushed curry. I feel like maybe there's not crushed curry Stampin' Blends. So I'm just grabbing my Daffodil Delight. We'll add some dark in there as well. There we go. We'll put those away. I'm going to grab my Real Red. So I'm using Real Red on this one. I'm going to make his little top feathers. I'm sure these all have names. I'm calling it top feathers. All right. So we're going to color in the light all over. And I'll add a little bit of, actually, you know what? I'm going to do his little waddle. Is that a waddle? Is that what that's called? You guys probably told me the other day, and I just don't remember. So I'm going to add that in, and then we're going to come in and just put in some of the darker Real Red. There we go. Put those aside, and I'm going to grab my Pretty Peacock. Oops. My Pretty Peacock blends. And I'm going to make his tail Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to start with the light. Again, he's almost colored. So, I like to use the brush tip because it's faster, but you can use if you need a more precise tip, you can use the bullet tip instead. I don't know. Most often I use the brush tip, but it's really personal preference. So I'm going to add some dark in here. Just a little bit. There we go. And then one more color. I want to grab some pumpkin pie. Where's my pumpkin pie? I'm going to grab the pumpkin pie. I'm going to do his little face, his little beak. Not his face, his beak in pumpkin pie. And I'm going to do his legs in pumpkin pie. I don't know if chicken legs are orange or yellow. I'm doing these ones orange though. So there's the light pumpkin pie. And I'll add just a little bit of the dark pumpkin pie in there as well. Which those legs are so tiny you can't even hardly see that. But there we go. There is our little rooster that we colored. And now we need to do just a little bit of die cutting. Get my messy embossing folder out of here before it gets something dirty. I'll grab my number 1 plate. And put the number 2 plate on top of it because we're embossing, because we're die cutting. I'm going to grab my cutting plate, number 3. I'll put my little rooster on there. I also want to die cut a piece from some crushed curry. And let me grab, where are my rooster dies? Where are those Hey Chuck dies? There they are. So grab my Hey Chuck dies. And this one. Yep. And I'm going to grab the sunshine. I want to cut a sun out of this yellow. So let's get our Hey Chuck, our little rooster, all settled in there. I'm going to grab some washi and tape him down. We'll put our other cutting plate on top of this, the other number 3 plate, and I'll run this through my Cut and Emboss machine. Cut, cut, cut. All right. This aside, here's my little sunshine. So cute. And my little rooster, also cute. Adorable. We'll set this stuff aside. Now, before I started, I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I pre-cut a little square for this. And I actually want to do just a little bit of embossing. I'm going to use some white embossing powder. I'm going to grab my embossing tray. This is part of the Embossing Additions kit, which, okay, if you haven't gotten this yet, you need it for so many reasons. One, it comes with the embossing buddy. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy and just rub that on there. This is going to help keep some of the extra static off, to help get rid of the little stray bits of embossing powder that like to stick to your project. I'm going to grab my Versamark, and then I have the little stamp that says Rise and Shine. We'll just ink that up and stamp that right on the bottom. There we go. And then the other thing in the Embossing Additions kit is the embossing tray. So I can take this and I can dump my white powder right on there and tap it off. And then it has a little like screw cap that I take it off and you can pour it right back in. I'll show you. I probably showed you this before, but we'll show you again. So I just unscrew that, and then this just pours right back in there. And then that Embossing Additions kit also comes with this brush. So you can take this and just brush that out and down and get that all out. And I will finish doing that later. I'm going to sit here and do the whole thing because it takes a minute just to brush it all out. So we'll set that aside. And then the Embossing Additions kit also comes with these cross clamp tweezers. And these are great because you can hold on to your cardstock while you're embossing. So let me grab my heat tool. And we'll just hold this and emboss this. Super, super easy. All right, and let's put our fun little card together. So I have my, oh, so pretty, that technique that we did with the inked embossing folder. And I have a whole bunch of papers here. I have a piece of real red. Now the real red is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to grab my multi-purpose glue. I should have put, oh well. I'm just putting a little bit of that on there. We're going to put this right on the red. Right on that real red. Oh, so pretty. I'm just going to hold that down. Hold it down. Get it on there good. All right, and then I have the strip of Real Red. The strip is 3/4 of an inch, and we're just going to add some multi-purpose glue to the back, and I'm just going to glue it up here. I don't know, towards the top-ish, like a little off center. And it's not going to be real flat because these dots really pop up a lot. Put that on there. And then I have a little piece of crushed curry. This is 1/4 of an inch. We'll just put a little line of adhesive on there. And then this I'm going to put right here, just kind of making some stripes across the front here. And they overlap the sides. That's not a problem. I'll just trim them off this way. A lot of times if I'm just making little strips like that, I leave them too long and then I cut them later. So there we go. And then I'm going to grab some of this trim. This is this wavy trim, which is really kind of cool. I'm not quite sure what to do, but it works well on this card. So I'm just going to lay this just over top and just snip it. And we're just going to tape this on the back. So I don't think you could really tie this, right? Like it's not a type of ribbon that you would tie. So we'll just flip that over to the back. I'm going to grab a couple pieces of tape and just tape that in place. Keeping it easy. There we go. So much fun. I'm going to put this on my card front with dimensionals. This card's going to have lots of dimension. So my card base is pretty peacock as well. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to take this piece that I made. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back. Just pop those on there. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pull these off. You just got to kind of stab them, give them a good stab, slightly sideways. And you can just pull those right up, and it corrals them all on the tip of your Take Your Pick tool. And then I can bring this over here and just pop this on my card front, just like that. And then let's put our sunshine. We're going to put the sun on this, above this Rise and Shine. Now, don't forget, I have a couple more samples for you using the same technique. So don't go anywhere. And of course, if you're not already, make sure that you get on my mailing list, because I'm going to send out the quick reference guide for this technique this weekend, right? So every Saturday, I send out free tutorials, and I send out free quick reference guide for that week's Stamp With Me Tuesday. So that'll be coming in this week's email. And if you're not on my list already, if you're over on YouTube, you can just click into the description of this video, and it'll be right there in the description. So, all right, there's my little Rise and Shine. We're going to pop this over top. Oh, so cute. And then we're going to add our little chicken in right here. On that side, yeah. So I think I should have put the Rise and Shine a little bit more to the right, but that's okay. Our little chicken will fit right here. Nope, I want him up. I want him up. So I'm going to grab some mini dimensionals and put some of these on his tail feathers. I kind of see which parts of him are going to be off this pretty peacock piece and which parts are not going to be off that I need to put some glue on. So let's grab these backs. This is a great little trick if you have trouble with your hands or whatever doing that pincher motion. Using the Take Your Pick tool can really help. All right, so just putting a little adhesive on that side. And then we'll just take our little rooster friend and pop him right up here. And there is our card with that really fun background technique. Isn't that cool? Let me show you the other cards that I have. I have 2 other cards. Here is one with the Darling Details stamp set. And I used the 3D fern on the background. So that's kind of a cool look to get that fern background. And then this one, I really like this one. This is with the Sweet Citrus stamp set. Check this out. It just looks really, I don't know, like, I don't even know what to call it. It looks, you know, like that Italian country or something, but with those embossed fruit on there that I inked with the pumpkin pie. So that's really cool too. So those are my 3 cards. And of course, this Darling Detailed stamp set, I'm going to be using that on Thursday night and showing you more cards with it. So this is an awesome stamp set. It is great for beginner stampers or not beginners as well. And has sentiments for all different occasions. So it's a really, really great stamp set. And I hope that you will come back on Thursday and join me for my Thursday night live where I'm going to be using the Darling Detail stamp set. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a great evening, and I'll see you Thursday.